it was my first time I had to do a presentation in front of people. And, like I'm really certain now. I was so nervous. I was halfway through the presentation and my boss was with me. I looked at the guy and go, I can't do this. But I found I love it. I love being able to help people. That's why I do it. And then it just transitioned to doing some solo albums. Wow, now I'm a rock star.
Let's go.
Hey, you are a rock star, Joe. You are a rock star.
Hey, I'm Luis.
And I'm Luis.
And you're listening to the Content is Profit podcast,
where we talk about entrepreneurship, mindset, and of course, how to turn your content into profit.
Let's go. But most importantly, we are here to have a good time with you. So go ahead, go to contentisprofit.com and join the community. I saved your booty today.
I think it sounds better when you say it. I think that we're going to have to change the color of that, and I think you're going to take over that part.
I just approved my own tryout here for
that was
intro.
Good. You passed the test.
Hey, what are we talking about today,
Fonz? Today we have a very cool guest, but honestly, I'm very excited about today's topic because I feel that it's an area, and I might be giving away here for the guest, right? He might prey on us after I say this, but sales is an area where we definitely need improvement. And today's guest is the master of sales. Yes, so we're gonna be talking all about podcasting, sales, and consistent content.
That sounds like this to me. Hold on. There you go.
Yes, that sounds exactly like money falling out of heavens.
Sounds good. All right. Fast and furious, and guys, if you need a daily content team, a plug-in daily content team, just let us know. Slide into those DMs. There's a little bit more to that, absolutely. But if that sparks curiosity, let us know, because that's what we do. That's what our team does really, really well. So we're happy to help you and put you in the right direction. Also, go ahead and follow the show in your favorite podcasting platform and at BIZBROS Go.
You were gonna say platform.
Platform. Yeah.
Oh, that is right, guys. And if today's guest help you move one step closer to your goal, please don't forget to share this episode with 3 friends. Remember, that is your ticket of admission. And don't forget to leave a 5-star review. Thank you.
That's right, baby. It's Friday and you know it. Today we have a great friend that we met at an incredible event in Montana.
That is right. Today's guest, let me tell you, he is the absolute beast at following up, and we're gonna be talking all about sales today.
Yes.
He is the host of the 150K podcast, which I totally recommend you go check it out. Guys, please welcome the host of the 150K podcast, Master Shifu of Sales, the one and only Joe Graham. What's up, Joe?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Pretty good. I gotta put your volume up in here a little bit so people get to hear your awesome voice.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate it.
Joe, thank you so much for obviously coming onto the show and be here with us. When we met you in Montana, it was like instant like brotherhood, first of all, and then we've been trying to get on your show. It's just really hard to get on your show, man. You're just that popular. So we're like, you know what? Let's just bring him in here because there's a lot of information that I personally need to know, and then I think this guy over here needs to know too.
I'm gonna be honest here, man. Joe, like we knew we wanted to bring you on the podcast, and we've been like back and forth, trying to figure something out a date. You, out of all of over 200 guests that we've had, you've had the best follow-up game in history of mankind, man. You're like, hey, man, and just checking in, like politely, like, hey, when are we going to do this, right? When are we going to take care of business? When are we going to go deliver some value to everybody? And that really caused a great experience. I was like, this is absolutely amazing. I love it, Joe. So I'm very happy, first of all, very excited, and very grateful that you're here today with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And honestly, that's the biggest secret of sales I have. I just keep talking to people until they say yes.
That's it, guys.
There's other stuff you can do, but that right there, if you can just follow up and not make the person upset, you're good.
Hey, that's it, guys. We're done with the episode.
That's the game over. Yeah, there we go. Here, that was a golden moment. Okay, so we can dive right in, and then we'll share a little bit of your story. But like, this is perfect because right now we're working with a company, right, and a lot of the day-to-day operations that we're helping them go through, on top of like building the whole system, is on the sales side of things, right? So they have like a front desk position, and we have to be reaching out and talking to people and just see what they are, right? And they're in charge of selling a type of membership, right? And the number one objection that we get on that side of things, and even with shows like this, people are like, oh man, like how do I get my dream guest in here? At the end of the day, we're selling something, right? We're selling an experience, whether that's
selling the spotlight.
Exactly. Whether that's like a time transaction or a money transaction, right? And it's like, well, they're not responding to me. Like, I don't know. Should I continue to follow up, right? Like, how do you discover that? Was this like natural to you, or like what was that learning process? And what's some advice that you can tell to people that maybe are finding some friction in the follow up?
Oh, sure. And it wasn't natural in the beginning. In the beginning, I was like anyone that got into sales. I had no idea what I was doing, and I just begged people to buy. But as you go along, you find out sales is relationship and relationship building. And so when I switched it from what they can do for me to what I can do for them, that's where I was able to start actually getting those doors open. So when I would reach out, it wouldn't be, hey, you know what, Luis, can you guys be on my show? It would be like, hey, what are you guys doing today? And I would start the conversation, and I would just make connections with them. And if I found out, oh, you guys like soccer, great. You know what? Or football, sorry.
Yes, let's go.
You call it football. I know. But, you like that. I would connect with you on what you liked.
Yeah.
Now we're getting a relationship so that when I said, hey, do you want to be on my show later on? It's like, oh, man, I like this guy. It's hard to say no. So that's like the first little step.
Ooh, so
the
good.
second is just make sure you're making it about them. So if you have to get someone in, like say a membership thing to a gym or whatever it is, don't form it like, do you want to get into membership? Talk about their health, what they need, what is going to get their hot button. Because that way you're already starting to get in, and then you just find out little bits of information about them.
Yeah.
And then you can follow up and have a reason to follow up. I think most people are scared about following up because they don't have a reason to follow up besides, hey, can you do something for me? You got to make the follow-up be about them.
Ooh. Okay, so like I think this is a very important part right here. At least it resonates a lot with me, making the follow-up about them. How do we make the follow-up about them? I feel most people, fit in the category, right? And most people are not, masters at something. So obviously majority are going to fall in this bucket of making the follow-up about them. Like, hey, let's have a chat, right? Like, what have you made a decision about this thing that we talked before? How do we go about crafting a follow-up in terms of, we like to say whiffed, right? What's in it for them? How do we craft it in that way that they have no other choice, but they feel no other choice than getting back to you?
Right. Well, because I started my podcast. We'll use this. This is easy for me. I started my podcast out in June. Like I had done no podcasting. Now I just released episode 55. And I had to start
hold on. It has to be celebrated. That has to studio clap.
Thank you.
Studio clap.
Thank you. But I started out just happened to be like, okay, cool. Who do I know in my sphere that I can talk to? And at first I was scared.
Yeah.
But then after I did a couple of them, got it, the understanding of, the process I wanted to do with it. Then I started going, okay, who in my sphere wants to have more influence? So then I would reach out to them, and I was like, I had a buddy named Pedro, and I'm like, hey, Pedro, would you be on my podcast? One, I know he had a podcast, so maybe in the future he'd let me be on his. But two, he would be comfortable in this environment, and it was something that, connected with him. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing in sales. It doesn't have to be podcasting. It can be selling a product. It could be selling soccer balls or footballs or whatever. You just have to find a way to, you actually have to put the work in. Yeah. Too many times people don't want to do that. They want to just say, hey, buy my stuff. And in reality, you got to just, it's like dating. I'm just thinking it through my head. Yeah. With a girl, you don't just go up to a girl, and I'll keep this PG. You don't just go up to a girl and say, hey, let's do this.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, do you want to go out on a date? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And you build the relationship.
Yeah.
Well, unless... Wow.
Some of us are not as good looking as others, so we have to use
some people don't have your beard, bro.
I'm totally joking in here. I do have to put in the work, too. But I don't put in the work anymore because I have a girlfriend. Babe, I'm sorry if you're listening to this. It was just a joke. I promise it was just a joke. Sorry, Joe, for interrupting you. So you were saying.
Well,
no. It's a good analogy.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I was just, I've been very into NFTs and like trying to learn a little bit more about it and like the Web3 and all this stuff, right? Craziness. That sounds crazy right now. And there's people that are like, I don't really believe this and just yesterday I was listening to an interview with Gary Vee, right? And he's like, look, so many people are so focused on the short term, right? Whether that's like an influencer, for example, this guy was asking him about like, look, if somebody comes in and offers me $100,000 to like promote this NFT, right? But I don't really understand it, right? Like that's very short. Like, should I take it? Should I not? Right? People that might be like waiting for like that money, right? Maybe that's a lifetime opportunity. But what Gary was saying is like, look, a lot of people are just so focused on the short-term gains that yes, you might grab that $100,000, like if you're needing those $100,000, but like, what are you canceling in the future, right? You are risking your future wealth. Like you're canceling your access to many people that might provide opportunities to you, right? So in the sales side of things, right, it's very similar. It's like, look, like, am I actually burning this relationship because I'm asking way too soon because I'm not giving, right? I'm not serving, right? Is that the risk I'm going to take? And in my personal experience, once I started seeing it that way, I'm like, wow, like this, am I be okay by delaying the ask to be able to build this relationship and be okay with that relationship, because in the future that might mean so much more, right? So we just had a like legit an example from like yesterday, right? We've been talking to this agency that we're about to partner with for what, 6-7 months. It's been a while. So and then just yesterday we received an email like, guys, we're ready. Right? Yep. And we're ready to rock and roll. And it not just them, it's like them and they have access to incredible people that we could serve as well, right? And that would have been like an ask, maybe like a month one, but it will burn that opportunity moving forward, right? So with that said, understanding that it's a long-term thing that we have to put in the work, right? How do we start building the consistency on these follow-ups, on this relationship building? Can we systematize it? Like, what is your experience in building this? Because, we have to have some wiggle room at that point until those deals or those partnerships start, happening, right? So what will be your advice in that part?
Yeah, sure. And I do long-term sales. So in my day job, because I still have a day job as well, I work in corporate America. I do multi-year contracts. Yeah. So I had to develop a relationships with people that are dealing with contracts. And maybe when I first meet them, they're 2 years out. So I had to set, little points along the way, which I'll do like in my Outlook or whatever. Yeah. Just like touch points for it. Yeah. And I'm more about long-term relationship anyway, because if you establish a relationship, even if you can't sell them, they have friends that you want to get and connect with. So I've done stuff that a lot of people be like, what? I actually recommend if you can't help solve the problem, but you know someone that can, refer them. Yeah. Because what will happen is once you do that, now we're friends. Joe just did something for me that had nothing to do with him. He didn't benefit from it, but he hooked me up. So now when you have a friend that needs what I have, you're going to bring it back to me. Mm-hmm. And then just building that relationship, every relationship's so different. Like I've gone 2-3 years on one deal, but it was like for my company, they made $250,000 a year off of it. And it's a 3-year contract. So that's what, $750,000. So wow. 3 years to bring it in your company, $750,000 is not a bad deal. It's just, I think people want the short term instead of the long term building wealth.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm curious, like what you said the deal was $750K. Is that the average of the deals that you deal with in this like long term?
Depending on what I'm selling. So I've been doing sales over the phone for the past 15 years.
Wow.
So I used to do oil and gas investments, which was around $100,000 a pop. You had to pay $100,000 to get in. Normal. With what I'm doing right now, it's a multi-year contract. So on average, the deals, and I get paid off the monthly, but the deal on average is anywhere from $35,000 for the company up to $250,000, $375,000 per deal. Wow. So like I sold $50,000 worth of revenue for the company last year, but that $50,000 is $50,000 each month that the company's making. Now I didn't get paid $50,000 each month. So that would be great. But I mean, it's just that's that kind of the thing. So what people really get confused is money is a made up number. And I use this example, but it's so true. This is an iPhone. That's my daughter on there. Beautiful. It popped up. Yeah. But I paid $1,000 for that iPhone, right? My wife hates iPhone. She won't pay $1 for it, but she'll pay $1,000 for a Samsung 22 or whatever they have. It's just the value you put with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I love this. I really want to dive deeper into, kind of like the core of sales and what you're talking about. I read this book for Peter Thiel. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's one of the co-founders of PayPal, if I'm not mistaken. He's like up there with Elon Musk, this guy,
nice.
Billionaire.
I haven't read it.
Yeah, so very high performance guy. And in his book, Zero to One, he talks about sales being the heart of any business, right? I mean, if you don't sell, you don't exist, pretty much, right? But the thing is, like, a lot of people go into business just thinking, oh, if I just follow my passion, like, it's gonna work out, right? And then you start, working on your craft and working on your on how you're gonna fulfill people, and then you're like, well, but I don't have anybody to serve. Well, it's because you haven't done sales, right? You have not sell anything to anybody. And honestly, to some point, I feel like we were there at the beginning where we were just working on like, oh, what are we going to sell? Let's work on our skills on fulfillment.
What are we going to sell? What are we going to do? That was the question.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. It's not what I was going to sell, but what are we going to do?
Yeah.
And we're working on our skills. Let's work on, learning how to build funnels or how to edit video, etc. And we totally neglected sales, right? Deep inside, we knew we needed to sell, but I think it's something that people just, because it's uncomfortable at first, people just put it, aside.
Yeah.
Now, I heard in one of your podcasts that you love working with people from 0 to 400, right? That is like your sweet spot. And I'm curious, right? Like, because it takes a change of mindset to get from that point, right? From nothing to consistently drive sales inside of your business. So what would you say is that mindset shift that we need? And I'm not saying we're going to start closing, 250 grand of deals.
Why not?
Right?
Why not?
I mean, no, yeah, exactly. Why not?
I mean, you can.
Yeah, you can. I'm not saying like overnight. He doesn't let me, finish my sentence. But what is that change of mindset that you need to start going into? I feel comfortable now with making a 10K offer, 20K offer, right?
30K offer.
And really, the number is irrelevant. It's the value you bring. But the biggest thing I see coaches, entrepreneurs, even salespeople, because I train a lot of B2B salespeople as well, is their mindset, because Hollywood and movies and all make it look like the sales is icky or slimy or they're taking advantage of you. But if you can reshift that thought process to, I'm solving a problem for them, I'm helping them, it takes away the ickiness. Because like you said, you were content creators, you're making all these really cool stuff that people want, but you didn't know how to sell it to them because something in here was like, I don't know if this feels right. What do I charge? Well, when you're bringing someone value and you're helping them meet a need, the money will come. Because here's a dirty little secret most people don't know. Money is not really the biggest factor in a sale period. It's about 5%. If you give them enough value, if you take care of their need, if you show them how you can make them money, if you can help them with their processes so that they can duplicate what they're doing over and over again, they'll pay you. And then you can have a 10K offer or a 20K offer or a 5K offer, depending on what demographic you're wanting to touch with.
Yeah. I just had like an interaction earlier with this guy. He's an engineer, right? Has like this business, or he works. He has a 9 to 5, but also he has a company on the side that they're doing like a B2B side and then a consumer side on 3D printers, right? And I thought it was fascinating, right? He has this whole remote team, and we're talking about it. And we've said on the show that we use our podcast as a leverage tool to part of this process that we're talking about, right? Like, it's full transparency. It's like, look, this is a very high quality point of contact with the people that we really want to connect and move our relationships forward, right? And he's like, but what's your audience and like the fans and the subscribers? And I'm like, we honestly, like, we cannot see it some days, but it was like, that's not the priority at all. Eventually, with consistency and time, that will come, right? And then it'll have a place. But at the time, like, really the focus is like, who are we bringing? What's the relationship? Like, how can we serve each other? How can we find the connection points? Because at the end of the day, that's literally what has fed the business in the last 2 years. And it has been an incredible experience. Now this guy, like, we're trying to explain like the front end of the show, the back end of the show, like, and he came to me and a conversation that I had not so long ago with this guy that they auction commercial real estate, right? So they came to us as a referral or somebody, and we were having this conversation. And I'm like, okay, like, how do you sell? Like, what's your marketing strategy? It's been word of mouth for the last 20 years, right? They built enough relationships that they can do that, right? Incredible. Now they're at a point where, like, okay, can we start like looking at different options? COVID happened. They cannot go on site anymore. Like, this was last year, right? I'm like, okay, well, here's our framework. This is what we do for our industry. This is what we've done, right? We've done, at the time, I think it was like over 6 figures in sales, right? For a service provider. But here's the application to you, right? And we started going about like what it meant to him. And I'm like, okay, look, out of 10 very high quality conversations with people that, you know, they might move forward, right? What do you think you might close out of that, right? And he's like, well, out of 10, I think 3 people might be like a really good number for us, right? I'm like, awesome, okay. What if I tell you if you can have 52 opportunities once per week, right? 52 opportunities in 1 year, right? That's what, let's say we round up 50 people. So 5 times 3 was that 15. 15 sales, right?
Good job.
Let's go. No, we don't do public math, but I'm doing public math today. 15 sales, right? One of those sales for them can be anywhere from $500,000 to millions of dollars, right? So for him, that system is very valuable, right? So it's like, okay, the conversation continued, right? And we're like, okay, well, the service that we provides all that support for your type of company, right? Now, my value is based on what they can do, right? Well, full disclosure, we don't work with them because their building got blown up by the hurricane. They're all okay, and they're all okay, but they're rebuilding the whole shebang. That was like, what's the area? I don't know. New Orleans. That was last year. So, you know, gratefully they're okay. But for them, this is a really good example because for those service providers, I think those are really good questions to ask. Because then the value is based on what they can say. So I'm like, look, okay, if this costs, let's say $100,000 a year, is it worth for you those 52 opportunities that you told me that you can close 15 of those that are worth millions of dollars? The answer is going to be like, yes, sounds good. Let's get cracking, right? So I think that's such a cool, and you know, I think this is the first time FONZI listens this side of the story, the way that we're telling it. And as I was telling this, I'm like, this is pretty interesting. And the guy I was telling them this thing, he sells like these massive 3D printers. You could see in his eyes, the light bulb went off. And he's like, oh my gosh, can we have coffee? Can we talk more? I'm like, absolutely, let's talk more, right? So I think to your point is that's so important, right? Like what you just explained, it's okay, what is the value to that person that we're encountering? So what are some ways that you've seen or that you probably do today to bring that value forward from their point of view?
Well, you actually brought one up. I know my numbers. So like with their sales process, and I train this a lot more with one-on-one coaching with like people that I do it with, I find, okay, how many people do you need to talk to? And I always use the example of 100. So if you talk to 100 people to get 10 people interested that you actually get to talk to 5 and you close 2, then you know you need to make 100 contacts a day. And then you know what the value is. Like with your example there, you know, their ticket value is a lot higher. A lot of people's ticket values, it's going to be a little bit lower depending what industry they're in.
Yeah.
But know your numbers and then know what it is in your industry that is a hot ticket for them. So like if I'm selling fitness, I'm going to know, you know, is it this supplement that I want to use? Is it this workout that's working best? Whatever that is for them, because all you're doing is touching their pain point. I know some people might feel bad about this, but they're going to buy from someone else if they don't buy from you. So find their pain point or find their heart, what they love. Honestly, most of the time, people will move off of pain more than off of love. The people that move off of love and excitement about something are probably about 5%.
Yeah.
The 95% are like they're tired of either living a certain way or not having the sales come in or not having what they need. So you find their pain point, you show them their numbers, and success. Our good friend George says this all the time. Success is boring. I give him credit on it because I use this line all the time.
Yeah.
It's just with my sales process, I repeat the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
Now, I will talk better. I'll change it up. I'll get better lines or whatever. But I'm still making 100 calls or 200 calls a day. I'm still doing email marketing. I'm still doing my follow-up, which I have scheduled times to follow up. That's something I didn't mention before. Let me go back to that. I don't just randomly follow up all the time. Now, sometimes, like, if it's just a close relationship, I will. But I will literally tell them, hey, Luis, you know what? You're interested in this. Is it okay if I call you back on Tuesday? Do you want me to call you at 1 or 2? What works better for you? And if they push back, I'm like, hey, man, I'm just trying to help you and meet your time frame. But if I don't schedule this, I'm pretty busy too. I don't want to miss you. Again, I'm always reframing it back toward them. I wanted to go back to that because it's not just follow up and being the, annoying little kid that's like, or the annoying guy, like, do you want to go on a date?
Yeah.
It's not that. It's more of setting it to where they agree with you for that follow-up, because then they're going to feel more likely to actually respond. Or if they can't, they'll email you back, go, hey, man, I'm sorry I missed it, but can we talk now?
Yeah.
This is gold right here, guys. Repeat this section about 3 minutes, minute 22. Go back, listen to it, grab pen and paper, take notes. This was golden boulder.
Golden border moment.
Golden boulder moment. Thank you, Joe.
I want to go back to something that you said earlier, right? Like, people are scared to the follow-up, right? They're like, okay, I finally got this person interested in what I'm doing. I'm having this call. Maybe they cancel the call and they're like, okay, what now? Like, it's probably that unknown thing, right? And one of the things that, I personally had to repeat to myself a ton when we were starting, right? Because, well, first of all, we had to prove our concept. It is proved now from the people, ourselves and the people that we've proved. Did I say proved? Yeah, my English is not very good.
I don't know.
It worked.
It worked. Let's go.
I don't know,
Joe was smiling.
English 101 over here.
English 101, yes. If we can do it with our accent, you can do it as well. Anyways, but it was like, okay, I have to believe the first thing that my solution, it works, and it works great, and we're going to do 100% of that, right? So I think for us, because we sell our own product, it works. But then when somebody else is selling that, like somebody else's product, right? That's when that belief and that conflict is. We've seen it, I came from the fitness industry, right? So I had a team of like 15, and I was like, you are not allowed to work here, right, selling these memberships if you do not do the workouts at least 3 times a week, right? Because if you do not like it, you're not going to be able to talk about it, right? So in that case, with fitness, it worked. Now, for us, we are the living proof of our product, right? Like, we do this 24/7. That's exactly what we do. Now, what are maybe like people listening, they might be in a company selling for somebody else or producing content for somebody else. Like, what is your advice to those people that are doing it for somebody else?
Sure. First and foremost, believe in their product and their solution. If you don't, change jobs. Flat out. Because as a salesperson, I've literally changed jobs. I was making good money, but I didn't believe in the solution. So like, I was doing oil and gas, and when I realized that they weren't getting the return on their money, because when I started the job, and this, some people like doing this, it's a super high risk thing. And I thought, oh, well, they're getting wells. I hear it, right? And then I found out it's like 1 out of 100 wells, and my ability to sell in that industry wasn't there anymore because I didn't believe what was being delivered. To where what I'm doing now, I have a whole team behind me. I'm like, hey, you know what? If you sign up with me, I have a project manager that's going to take care of it. And then that certainty comes back. Yeah. The other thing I wanted to mention, because you mentioned people being kind of like nervous about following up if they didn't answer. You need to remember, it's not about you. Yeah. It's about the value, the service, the product that you're bringing. It might be their dog died that day. It might be that their boss yelled at them and they just didn't want to take another call, or they had something else come up. It's not always they're mad at you, but I think the human mind, we think, they're mad at me. And in reality, everyone has so many other outside factors. Yeah. Just reach back out. And then just until someone tells me a flat out hard no, yes, I would just keep talking to them, being nice to them, finding a new way in, being like, okay, cool. Is this really going to work for you? Like, I will find a way. Either you're going to say, yes, let's talk again. Yes, let's sign up and let's do this. Or no, leave me alone. But I'm not going to allow them to just leave me in the vague mode, because now I'm going to be worried over here, tripping out, going, did I do something wrong? Do they like me? Are they going to move forward? Instead of, I'd rather have a no.
Yeah.
And I'll tell people that if you're really nervous about a deal, I'll look at them and say, hey, Luis, is this something that you don't want to do right now? If not, that's cool. I can take a no. I'm just trying to help you. Again, I'm reframing it back to them.
Yeah.
Instead of that, I don't like being held in limbo. Limbo is not good.
Yeah. With that, hold on. I have to no, you do it to me all the time. Okay. What is the power of no, right? Because when you start, a lot of people are really scared of, oh my gosh, they're gonna say no, right? It took us a while to understand it in our. I think I have my own answer, but I really want to hear from you. It's what is the power of no?
Yeah, I've learned it now, but I'm going to tell you a funny story because it goes along. When I first did my sales job, I was doing roofing, windows, and siding, and I was selling a gutter job. It wasn't even that expensive. It was like $2,400 to do this whole big house. It was my first time I had to do a presentation in front of people. And I'm really certain now. I was so nervous. I was halfway through the presentation, and my boss was with me. I looked at the guy and go, I can't do this. I can't do this. I literally freaked out.
In the middle of the presentation?
Right in his house. And the guy looks at me and goes, bro, I'm going to buy anyway. Because I was working for Home Depot. I like Home Depot. You're good. And he literally sold it for me. And after that point, I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. It's not about me. I was just tripping out for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But to get past no, or that certainty of no, you have to just get into the fight enough. My old boss used to say, or my old salesman used to say, you have to get bloodied with it, meaning that you had to just keep doing it over and over and over again. You mentioned that I'm a sales master. You know how many times I've been told no over the last 15 years?
Yeah.
It's like a normal thing. And then also, I didn't forget what you said. The power of no is a takeaway you can use in the sales process, because I believe that's more the question you were asking me. Sorry. It's a takeaway in the sales process so that it takes the power of. Grant Cardone does talk about this. You just hit the monkey in the room or the elephant in the room and say, hey, you're worried about this. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. Well, now you've just said no before they could say no. So now that whole power is gone. Or if there's a problem, and I know I'm going a little tangent here, but if there's a problem in the solution that you're giving them, don't hide it, attack it, mention it. Yeah, you know what, Luis? I think you're worried about X, Y, Z. Is that correct? And then now it's not, oh crap, is he going to mention this? It's now, I've addressed it, and you're showing confidence. That's that. Those two go together.
FONZI did his moves in the conference and in the karaoke night, and all he did when he stepped on stage.
Dude, I did them at the Montana event too.
I know that too. Well, yeah,
my awful breakdancing skills.
Yeah, he got
better than mine.
He got claps like this. He's like.
Yeah, people were like, "Whoa, yeah!"
But he addressed, yeah, exactly, and that's an example, that's a physical example, but literally mentally, that's exactly what happens in those rooms, right? In those conversations, those meetings. Awesome, I love it.
Man, this goes hand in hand with a thought process I had the other day. I was actually telling my brother, right? And you said you just want a decision, whether that is yes or no, right? And a while back, I was listening to this sales training where the person was saying, "That's your job is to get the other person to take a decision, right? Whether that is yes or no. The caveat here is that it's about that person making the best decision for them. Your job is not to, like you said, make the best decision for you and your company, which obviously it would be for them to buy, but which honestly, I take that back." It won't, because if you don't have a good client, it won't be good for your business, right? But that is the thing. It's like your whole job is to help them make that decision, right? That is the best for them. So if you don't see them, this ties a lot with a lot of the stuff that you mentioned earlier, right? If they're not a good fit, just refer them to somebody else. Hey, you know what? It's not a good opportunity for us to work together. This person can actually help you out. Go talk to them, right? And you're helping them make that decision. Yeah. And then tying this to what you were talking about, having certainty in the product, right? Like believing in the product. Now I see a clear tie between sales and morals and values, right? Because like you said, and I think that's the issue right there. That's why people feel sketchy or so icky, right? Is because they're probably selling something they don't really believe in. Then you feel icky because it's like, I'm actually making the other person, spend their hard-earned money for something that I know is not going to give them happiness. Let's just put it that way, right? That is not going to give them the benefit that they want. And that's when you feel icky, right? So tying this is like, man, this is perfect, because then if you feel icky in your own business, selling stuff, maybe you got to take a look inside of your processes and your services, whatever, and say, okay, how can we better this that we're doing, right? Very, very important. So thank you so much for sharing about that. I do want to keep talking about sales a lot, but I do want to transition to a little bit into your podcasting journey. And obviously, by the way, you were the only one that finished the 45 live. So let's go. We're going to talk about that too. But my last sales question, I don't know if my brother has another one. I'm extremely curious of, how does your CRM looks like?
Ooh. Well, here's the thing. So for my corporate job, we use Salesforce. It's already set up for me. For my sales coaching, I just started it, so I use Outlook. And then I just keep track in my email for Outlook for the CRM with that. I'm really low tech with that part, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I do want to say one other thing, because you perked my mind on it. You were talking about feeling icky, but you mentioned something that I really like. I tell people this, like, if you're ethical, if you're moral, and you have their best interests in heart, I'll work with you. If you're not, and you're just wanting to sell them, I won't. Like, I literally, like, I thought you were like reciting a live I did from a couple months ago when I was like, you're ethical, you're moral, you're good. You don't have to feel bad about yourself because you're taking care of your customer. So I wanted to just pop that in.
Yeah.
CRMs, again, mine's still fairly new. So
Yeah.
I use Outlook.
What is there a framework that you follow to build it? Because like I remember a few months ago, we were debating, well, like most people do at the very beginning, debating on the tool, right? Are we gonna use HubSpot or Notion or whatever crap like it's out there, right? Like, and it's like we had somebody, one of our like dear mentors, like shout out to Jerry. He's like, dude, doesn't matter.
The best CRM is the one that you use.
Yeah, this is the one that you use, right?
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
Exactly.
Yep.
So it's like, okay.
I'm just going to throw this out there before. Sorry, I'm interrupting you, but I'm just going to throw this service idea or product idea for, for whoever wants to take it and execute it. Do a CRM audit and clean up. Literally sell people like, hey, I'll come in, clean your CRM, help you out, figuring out your cadence. And if you have your stuff in 3 different places, like us,
that's like
then we're gonna help you out centralize everything so you can go out there and make some sales. How good is that?
Yeah, that's great because it's exactly what you need. But here's the thing. I'm gonna put this out there. I've been battling for like one tool, and then FONZI shiny object syndrome swoops in, and he's like, "Oh man, look at this tool, man! It's so nice and so beautiful. Can we try it?" I'm like, "Boy,
I'm just gonna say this. I think they all have their benefit." But I personally have experienced most of the benefit with one specific one, which actually we still don't use. It's not the one that we use. But I
whatever one you use is the one you need to do.
Exactly.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you. I really appreciate you saying that again to our faces. 100%. But homework for FONZI this week has been cleaning up the hot deals pipeline that we have. So I don't know how's that going, but on my side,
it's going. It's going. All right, Joe, let's transition a little bit here to some of the content meat. Tell us a little bit about your journey with podcasting, right? You decided to dive into, building your own coaching business, and you started your 150K podcast, which now you have 55 episodes. Congrats. That is absolutely amazing. And this is a shout out. Please go follow him and listen to his podcast. He knows how to communicate great ideas in a very simple way. So I totally recommend it. Now, share a little bit about that experience. Why did you decide to start a podcast, right? And how has it gone so far? And has it paid off in a way?
Mm-hmm. And first, thank you. Thank you for the shout out there and all. You know what I really did? Literally, I started the whole idea behind the 150K podcast is most people in the U.S. don't make over 100K. They don't. Their average income is 68. Together, 30% in the U.S. make over 30K or make over 100K. 30%. So
wow.
I've been making over 100K for the past few years. And I realized once I got over that hump, I could, I could take my kids to Disney and not feel worried about it. I didn't have to worry about the bills. I didn't have to worry about the other stuff. And I'm like, you know what? it would be great because I have a big network if I brought people I know, and it didn't have to be sales, but they have broke that barrier or are in the process of breaking that barrier, and give tips and tools and different ideas and stuff. Like you mentioned, Jared, who's the CEO. He helps companies with that. Different ways to break that barrier. So that's what I thought of doing. So me being just gun-ho, just do it, I got an Anchor account, and I just started recording. I scripted the first 10 episodes, which is horrible because I just had the set questions and it didn't work for me. And then I ended up, I had a guy named Tracy Brickman on. He goes, hey, you should just ask questions and just let it flow. And once I did that, it was great.
Yeah.
Is it hard work? Yeah. I did the first 6 months. I did 2 episodes a week. And then this is with working a full-time job. This is with having a family. This is with doing all this stuff. But I found I love it. I love being able to help people. That's why I do it. And then it just transitioned to doing some solo albums. Wow, now I'm a rock star.
Let's go.
Hey, you are a rock star, Joe. You are a rock star.
Solo episodes with just simple little sales tips, to kind of, balance it out. It has turned into getting me some, like, I've been using it for branding and I have gotten a few clients with it, but I knew that first 6 months going from just being the rockstar sales guy, because I win all the awards, which George jokes with me about, to transitioning from being a guy online to how do you establish credibility? Well, the podcast was the easiest way for me to do that.
Yeah.
And then I got other people that were like, hey, can you be on my podcast? Hey, can you be on my podcast? Hey, can you be on my podcast? And I actually got the bug from friends of mine who, before I started it, were like, hey, jump on my podcast. They're like, you really should start one of these. And I'm like, me being a simple guy, maybe I should start one of these. So that was kind of the whole idea behind it.
Yeah.
It's been fun. It's a lot of work. I've actually recorded 67. I do a lot in advance. So 64. I kind of wrong. So I have a few up in front. That way, if I need to take a week off or if my family and I want to go somewhere, I have it set up.
Why do you stay consistent with the show? Because one of the things people, when they come into our community, into our world, one of the main things, and this is with content in general, right? Like production, distribution, in general, right? For us, the show is our cornerstone, is our baby, is a thing. It's never going to go away, right? It's going to evolve in some shape and form at some point, but it's there, right? But the main concern is it tends to be consistency. Like people struggle to be consistent with the show, and it's not on the how are you consistent, right? Like the how is easy. The how is just sit down and do it, right? And then, but why? Why do you keep being consistent with it?
For me, I want to help people, and there's no pressure with me with the podcast because my day job covers my bills. So I'm able to come and just share, and it's a good out. So from a personal standpoint, I get to actually bring guests on and learn stuff that I didn't know. People that have skill sets that I didn't know. Like I actually had a guy on that talked to me about Web3 and NFTs. Had no clue about it, and I didn't even know the conversation was going to go that way. Yeah. But it just did. And then if I commit to something, I just go at it 100%. I don't give myself the excuse. I mean, not that I'm perfect. There are times I mess up, of course. But I'm a very much, if I'm going to give you my word, I'm going to keep my word to the point that I said it, or I'm going to say, hey, Fonzie, Luis, I can't do it at this point.
Yeah.
I love that. That making that committed choice to do something. Very important. I think nowadays, and I feel like I'm in a transition point right now where I'm starting to see it. I'm more aware of this about making committed choices. I think a lot of people have a very difficult time making choices on that, right? For example, should I commit to this 100%? And I don't know if it's because there's many options to do multiple things and people like too many stuff, right? But at the end of the day am I going to commit to something long enough to know whether it works or not? And maybe, again, the output, the result, it's a little subjective, right? For us, it's a great way, again, to bring new clients, partners, right? Or just increase the value of our network. But
just meeting cool people.
Yeah.
I think that's just the value there. I mean, if we never started it, we would never been able to go to Montana, for example, which was our first experience for us. That experience alone is worth an immense amount of money, right? So it's we go back to value, right? So it's okay, how do we translate that into this thing? Is at the end of the day, is it worth it personally for us, like internally for our hearts, is our heart happy? Yes, perfect. Let's move forward, right?
Thank you for interrupting me.
You're welcome. You know I'm always here for you.
Yeah, exactly that. Or some people, it's a little bit more intrinsic, right? What my brother was just saying right now, is my heart happy? Some people just love sharing their message, right? And just putting their word out there. So it's actually funny. There I was scrolling mindlessly through TikTok, one of those times of the day. And
it's always 5 p.m. for Fonzie.
I saw
every day at 5 p.m.
I saw this guy that he posted a video of this older guy, right, playing video games, and he's like, this guy has been posted for 2 years. Has been posting for 2 years videos on video games, and nobody. It literally has like 2 views, right? But he still do it because he's just happy doing it, right? And then this guy kind of like shouted out on TikTok, like, wow, guys, like this is amazing. Let's make his day. Now the videos had like over 70,000 views, something like that. And I was like, dude, that is so cool, But at the end of the day, if he wouldn't have stayed consistent for those 2 years, doing it because he loves it and it was fun for him, like none of that would have happened, right? So obviously there's a lot of questions. Each one does it for very different reasons. So I want to invite the listener, right now, think about it. Why do you want to be consistent publishing? Because if you are doing it just for the sole purpose of an external reward, I think is way more difficult to hold on to it and actually be consistent than, doing it internally.
Have you found, like, what has been the change on your voice? Has it been any kind of like change in your voice, confidence, like what you're trying to say, like even translating it to your daily life, right? Has there been some kind of change in there?
With podcasting and stuff like that?
Yeah, publishing in general, right?
Yeah. Being consistent, like doing the lives was fun for me because I like to talk. And it was a short little window. So like I would give myself like 2 to 5 minutes to do a live. That's it. Because people's attention span, if one person's just talking, isn't as long as if like here we're interacting, we're having fun. It's different. Yeah. I've gotten more confident probably with doing the podcast. But then again, I used to talk to, and I still do, to CEOs, CFOs, people that sometimes people look at go, ooh, they're big. To me, they're just people, and I'm so used to talking in front of people. So getting on the camera and talking, for me, is just normal at this point.
Absolutely. I mean, that confidence just builds up over time, right? Is like you said, I don't remember the exact phrase, but it's pretty much putting the reps in, and then it just becomes second nature at one point, right? Now I feel extremely confident and jumping on a podcast and messing up and, laughing and, getting on each other's back, whatever. Before I would be like, dude, like, why are you saying that? And I will start getting like the sweaty pits, right? Super nervous.
Yep.
But now it doesn't mean that I'm fully comfortable in front of a camera. Like, give me a camera now and tell me to create content in front of, maybe a public place.
We got baby Luca over here today. Say hi, Luca.
Hello. Sorry.
Can you say hello?
It's the first official appearance of Luca in the podcast. Let's go. So yeah, Joe, what I was saying, right, is if you give me now a camera in a public place and tell me, okay, do the 45 live now in front of of all these people, even if they're not listening to me, it's a whole different environment, and I will get nervous then. Right? So I would need to start doing the reps and all that stuff. Actually, this morning, I was sending a video to a new client that we're onboarding, and it was a 1 minute video, and I had to like step outside of the coffee shop to do it and like walk away because I was like, man, I cannot fully do it as myself in here yet. I didn't feel that confidence in that place, and I was like, I'm just gonna go walk and then I can be loud and jump like crazy.
I like walking when I do lives. Like all my lives a lot of them are walking. The thing that I run into though is sometimes I'll be walking in like my neighborhood and the kids will see me and they'll run up and they'll want to talk, or I'm at work and like the smokers and all are outside, like the people that are outside and they're talking and stuff, and then I'm watching cars and
I love that aspect of the live because we're very connected to that, because we literally landed our first big client because of that reason. Like we were recording our first 45 live in the studio. Like we will find those spaces that we felt safe, right? And the one video that resonated was the one that I did exhausted at 11 at night. Like I didn't care about the light. I was just sharing a story, right? And that was the one that resonated, right? And it's crazy, like the feedback that we get from our show is on that is like, oh man, I love when you guys, like, your English is not the perfect, right? When Luca shows up and like we hear the dog knocking out the light, right? It just makes us human. So it's become part of the brand. It's become part of us, right? And then now we gotta dance. Okay, what is the type of people that we really want to connect with? And we had, for the first time, right, the other day, we had Danches right here on the show. Shout out to these guys on Sweet Fish Media, and I think it was probably one of the first experiences on his side with a show this way. That was like, we were laughing, telling jokes.
With a show this weird.
This
I
weird.
like it. It's fun.
Thank you, man. Thank you. And you also make it a lot of fun, right?
Yeah.
But you could tell that he was in a different environment for his show. Like he's a lot of B2B, right? And it can be very formal sometimes. And like for us, if you are gonna work with us, you have to resonate with who we are as well, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's when we find that one client that really stays with us for a long time, and that we can communicate like honestly. And the way that we do is because of that reason. So I'm sure, like, going back into sales, going back into your podcast, the reason we resonated a lot with you in Montana when we started talking was because of that. So I feel like everybody should be empowered, right, to dive in, because there's a light on the other side, right? And we sometimes don't see it. We see a wall, and it's like, just dive in head first, and you'll see it's gonna be so worth it.
Yeah, be yourself. That's the thing those people don't realize. You're your secret sauce. You're the reason people are drawn to you. Don't try to be someone else. Like, I can't act like you guys because I can't dance. I can't do certain things. You know what I mean? Like, I have to be me. And when I'm consistently me, I'm going to draw the people that are attracted to wanting to work with me or maybe get help with sales. Just like with you, the people that are drawn to yours because you're being authentic. You're you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the energy attracts, that same energy. So that is extremely important. I had a question. This is like totally off topic. Well, first of all, I had a comment saying that now I'm like inspired to launch 3 other podcasts. And then my, ADHD mind went totally the opposite way back to sales. And I was like, dude, I wonder if Joe does cold sales, right? Like, do you hit people cold? How do you do that?
I've been doing it for so long. I literally just give them a call and I just say, hey, so like, let me think here.
It's all good.
Literally, I'd have their name, and like even with the job I'm doing right now, I have their name, and I have a little. When you're doing cold sales, you want to have a script to begin with. That way, you don't have to follow it word for word, but that way you know what you're going to say when you do it. So, like, if I was reaching out to you and I was going to sell you something, I'd be like, "Hey, FONZI, Joe Graham, real quick, good news." And the reason I do that is because, first off, people don't want their time wasted. So, real quick. Good news, because people don't want bad news. They want good news. So like, that's like my opening to almost anyone I talk to. And then I might go into what I'm going to sell them. But like, I'm going to have something quick, a hook, and tell them I'm not going to waste their time. And I'm going to make them happy. And that normally gives me about 6 seconds to get them to be either in or out.
Wow. It actually doesn't sound too different from creating content, right? From creating a video, right?
It totally is creating content. You're just creating content on the fly, and then you have to test and try. And if you get a gatekeeper, I switch it. So instead of like, hey, Luis, this is Joe Graham. Hey, can you tell me who handles like the internet and phone service? I had FONZI down. Does he do that? Is there someone else? Now I'm asking a question. I'm not just telling them. And people like to help, especially gatekeepers. This is something I deal with a lot of people with B2B, is gatekeepers lock them down because they just try to bully themselves past the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
Make them your friend. Ask them a question. Say, hey, can you help me? People like to help.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to say this. I appreciate that you said my brother was a gatekeeper. That is right. He is a gatekeeper, guys. If you ever need
muscles,
if you need to reach me, you can send an email to my assistant over here.
I promise you, there will not be an email back. I am so sorry.
Oh man, dude, I love that. Right? It's like win the gatekeeper and. Kind of like going full circle once again to the podcast where we started. This is something that we found out about the value of the spotlight, right? The value of having your own platform. you get to actually keep the gatekeeper of the gatekeeper. It's like, heck yeah, because it's for them, right? Hey, I want to bring this person into the show. How can we make that happen, right? Guess what? The gatekeeper is like, heck yeah, right? Because now you're providing the platform, the spotlight for them.
Yeah.
And it's so much easier to bring people here. Like, we share this story all the time when we're trying to, let people know of the value of podcasting and building relationships. We tell them, hey, out of over 200 guests, only one has ever said no. And we reach them out through a different way, right? We leverage one of the guests that came, that had a really good relationship with them. And then we managed to bring them. And it is absolutely amazing. Like, literally a very few amount of people will say no thank you.
I'm just gonna put this out there. Like, this has to be like a very staggering stacked, right? Like, even cold calling, like getting just in touch with that person, like, out of 200, I'm looking at the number time. Out of 239 episodes, which probably around maybe 40, so is us alone, right? Between the first ones. Yeah.
I think that's too much.
30 maybe. Only one person said, like, not even them, the gatekeeper, right? Because there was, like, we couldn't find the way. And then
we couldn't bully our way through the gatekeeper.
Yeah. Fonzie wasn't, he was shaved that day, so the beard didn't do the effect. But so, like, and just like, this is the dream, literally, platform, like, way to be able to have that conversation with the person that's going to make the decision that you can help, you can serve, that you know. So again, we cannot stress this enough. Yeah. It sounds too big to be true, to be honest, but we've lived it, right? We never really experienced that. And who's coming next week, right? The head of Hotspot Growth.
Yeah, we just booked the podcast growth. Wait, what is it? Yeah, like the podcast growth person from HubSpot that they just created their whole
$1 billion
network
company. This guy's coming, right? So, like, if we can get somebody like that, like, if you can get, like, your dream guest, same thing, like, for everybody out there, it can be possible. So all the things that Joe has shared here today, the things that, Fonzie has shared here today, maybe the ones that I've shared here today, put them to use, right? I just take that step, believe it's going to happen. Now, Joe, as we wrap up the show, we have a few questions to wrap it up. Fonzie, you want to lead the way?
Yeah, sure. Is that because you're trying to find them and you cannot find them in there?
I did. I'm like, I was looking at the episode now. No, but I found them. I found them.
I got it now. I got it now. It's my time to shine.
All right.
Joe, every time a guest comes, we ask for an action point, right? What can we leave the audience with, the listener with, that can help them move one step forward? And I know we talk about sales, we talk about podcasting. So let's make it more about sales. We want people to increase their revenue, be able to make more sales and get some momentum.
Sure. And this is something we haven't talked about yet. Time blocking. So I do a lot of sales over the phone. You can do this for B2B. You can do this for B2C. You can do this calling. You can do this face-to-face. I have a set schedule. So from 7:30 in the morning roughly till 9:30, I'm doing emails and admin. From 9:30 to 11:30, I'm making phone calls. I'm not doing emails. I'm not doing busy work. I'm not being distracted. I'm reaching out to potential clients. From 11:30 to 12:30, boys got to eat. I do lunch. From 12:30 to 2:30, I'm doing calls again. And then from 2:30 on, I'm normally doing admin or emails. The reason is that you want to be able to touch people when they're available. Depending on your industry, those times can change. But we talked about being consistent.
Yeah.
I do this 4 days a week. Friday's a little bit different because it's a different animal with different people, but 4 days a week, that's my schedule. I'm consistent. My team knows, do not ask me questions during these times if I'm reaching out to clients.
Yeah.
And I'm really super tight on my containers with it. And what I found is that repetitive, boring call has made me hundreds of thousands of dollars because you're just stacking wins. You're getting the prospect, first you're reaching out saying hello, then you're getting them to do a presentation, then you're getting them to do the follow-up, then you're getting them to do the close. Then if they run away from that and you have to overcome objections, you're doing it again. But if you have those windows locked in and you're doing over and over again, just like lifting weights, you get stronger, you get better, but you're putting yourself in a position to win. And that's a key in business, sales, life, whatever you're doing. And so I didn't used to think I liked schedules. I love schedules now because now I can shrink time. If I can shrink time, I can make more money. Then I can go hang out with the family after 4 o'clock and not have any worries because I did what I needed to do.
Yeah.
And watch Boardwalk Empire.
Boardwalk Empire.
Yes, let's go. Very key. Very key. This is for me too, by the way. I'm looking at you, but this is for me too.
Yeah, I'm like, what's the very key? The very key.
You gotta do the thing during the time block.
Absolutely.
Because so many times you put the time block in there and then we don't do the thing. So, we identify with that. That's one of the
choice.
Committed choice.
Committed choice. If you put it in the calendar, you're committing to do it.
Yeah. By the way, going back, success is boring, right? That's the thing. It's like commitment to that. At the end of the day, like are we really committed to the thing that we want? It's gonna work. It's gonna work. It's gonna be worth it.
Are you committed?
Dude, 100%.
Are you committed?
100%. Are you committed, Joe?
But remember, success is boring, but the good thing about that is when you do all that boring, fun stuff, not fun stuff, you get to go to Hawaii. You get to go on the trips. You get to do all the other fun stuff we were talking about beforehand. I fund my fun stuff by doing the boring things I need to do consistently every day. And that's why I win. That's how you win. Like, you ask anyone, business, health, whatever, there's stuff that they don't maybe like to do, but they know they need to do.
Yep.
And that's how you win. And then you get to go and do trips and go to Montana and meet great people and do all the fun stuff that way.
Absolutely. I heard this the other day, resonated a lot. You cannot get pissed off for the results you didn't get for the big
work you didn't do.
From the work you didn't do. I almost butchered that.
It's okay.
I almost totally messed it up.
We saved it.
I apprate you guys.
Joe,
that's why I don't do the show solo.
You did your first solo show on Wednesday. Congrats.
I know. Appreciate it, guys.
Good job.
Go tune into that one. Yeah.
After 2 years, finally.
Literally, after 2 years, I did my first solo episode.
Joe, last question of the show. Where will you be if you did not publish?
Where would I be if I didn't publish content?
Yeah.
If you didn't put
your message out there,
I would be doing my sales job. I would be still successful in most people's eyes, but I'd probably be sad because I love to help people. That's my heart. So helping people get to their dreams, their visions, their plans, what they want to do. I talked to our buddy George about this. I'm like, you know what? There was time, because in this we'll get frustrated with what we're doing because there's work and there's stuff. I'm like, I really don't have to do this. And he just didn't reply back. And then I wrote back a little bit later and go, yeah, you're right. He just gave me the space I needed. I do this because I want to help people. So it was just having to reframe what I wanted to do. But if I wasn't doing this, I would still be doing sales and doing what I did for the past 15 years. I just wouldn't be as fulfilled.
Yeah.
I love that answer. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, 100% honesty. And, at the end of the day, we love asking this question because, for us, it meant so much. It started, not going to lie, it started chasing the money 100%, because we're in a very tough position, but it has evolved into a beautiful thing. And
my brother wanted to be a TikTok influencer.
Oh, nice.
Fun fact, go to our TikToks and just we literally rock, paper, scissors to see who was going to be in those videos, but definitely not. But yeah, it has evolved. So the show has evolved not only on the visual and the structure of it, but inside of us on how we run it, on why we run it. Yeah. So much from the day one that we decided to do this. So incredible. So thank you so much for sharing that answer. Joe, anything else you want to add? Well, first off, where can people find you? Where can people connect with you?
Oh, sure. So you can find me on my podcast, 150K Podcast. It's on Apple, Spotify, anywhere you go with that. If you want to reach out to me, I have a 150K Instagram page. You can go there. I have a 150K group on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn under my name, Joe Graham. You'll see my pretty face. But yeah, you can find me anywhere in those 4 places. Thanks for saying.
Love it. Joe, quick comment here. You're going to have to send me the link of the headphones. I like it. I like the sound.
Do you know what's crazy? These headphones were my son's gaming headphones that I took because he wasn't using them for his computer because he plays the Xbox. This is what I make my money off of. This is my work headphones. I take these to work, put them on. $30 on Amazon. I can't say the name of them right. It's Okanime or Okanime. I'll send you the thing, but I've had them for 3 years. I love them.
I like him.
Let us tell you, if you are trying to like up your like whatever game, like content wise, go to the gaming industry. They have it figured out, right? They have it figured out. And again, by the way, full disclosure, you don't need all that. Like it does help a ton.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to. Okay, I need to find a picture of Fonzie the first time that he was trying to do a sales call. He also started with gaming headphones.
Yeah.
We
I still have them. I should try them to see like how they look. They're a little old, so they might not give a good sound, but
yeah, exactly. So
But yeah.
These are 3 years old. They're still like. Hopefully, I sound good today.
these are like 7, Joe. Like 7 years old.
But
Yeah.
I mean, I remember that story. I actually put them on, and I was just like walking inside of my room because I had at that moment we lived in like a 7-bedroom apartment. 7-bedroom
apartment.
Wow, yeah.
Penthouse. Where is this, Fonzie?
A 7-bedroom house with like a bunch of roommates, and I had like my office in my room. So literally, I would like get up from my bed, take 2 steps, and then sit down in my office and do some work. So I would put my headphones on, and I was like with my mic, and I would just like walk back and forth, literally getting in the mindset of like, I'm gonna call this restaurant, yeah, and I'm gonna sell them, yeah, you can do it, Fuzzy, yeah, and then I would call them, it's like, hello, yeah.
Yep. Been there.
And then I would like freeze. It's like, okay, bye.
He didn't do the hey Luis here, you know, real quick, I got good news.
Yeah.
I wrote it down. I'm gonna practice this. All
You
right.
should use it. It's good.
I know. I love it.
Awesome.
Dude, Joe, thank you so much. This has been so much fun. It's so good. There's so many of these. Hold on. There we go. Golden boulders.
Yep.
Anything else you want to add before we head out?
Sure. Love well. Chase your dreams, and just be you. Because at the end of the day, you have to live with you. And you're the secret sauce to whatever you want to build, dream, go after. And don't worry about what other people think about it. Do what you want to do, and the right people will be with you.
Let's go. Thank you so much, Joe. Love
Thank
it.
you for having me. I appreciate it, my friend.
Man, this was awesome.
Did you have fun? I mean, but
Oh, dude, I've had a blast. I love this. Like, I could go for another hour or two. I know we don't have that time, and my wife might be coming around my little screen.
We'll do part 2. We'll do part 2 for sure.
yeah, it's coming, and then we gotta meet you on your home ground.
You won't
on
need-
my show, then I get to do it.
Yeah.
you won't need to follow up that much for round 2, I promise.
No worries.
Yes. All right, Fonzie, anything else you want to add?
No, I'm just thankful, Joe. Appreciate you, man, for coming here. This was absolutely amazing. It was a lot of fun. Honestly, I know I said this in the last episode, but I think this one has been one of the most fun episodes we've had on the 239. I had an absolute blast, and we learned a lot. So thank you so much, Joe.
With that said, guys, thank you so much for tuning into the Contents Profit Podcast. Go ahead and follow the show in your favorite platform and on social media at BIZBROS Co.
That is right. And if Joe here helped you move one step closer to your goal, please don't forget to share this episode and leave a 5-star review. See ya.
Bye, guys.